Moi everyone and welcome to Finish Your Plate. And continuing on the Christmas theme, I have here a couple different kinds of breads that you can make for a Finnish Christmas table. They both contain rye, they have a little bit of that malt flavor, they have some fruit in them just to make it a little bit more Christmassy compared to regular rye bread. Of course, regular rye bread is still very popular at Christmas, but especially at Christmas, a lot of times people want to have that little extra something, a little bit sweeter bread, like this one, for example. This is a archipelago style bread that also has molasses in it. So join me and I'll show you how to make these two breads for Christmas. First, for the archipelago bread, I need some buttermilk, but of course, since it's bread, it's got to be warm. Remember, when warming up buttermilk, you don't want to do it too fast or you don't want to heat it too much because then it'll curdle. I need to warm this up gently to about body temperature. So I'm going to use the microwave and do it slowly. Now that my buttermilk is warm, I'm just going to pour it in my container over here, mixing bowl. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of dry yeast. And with that, I'm going to add 3 deciliters of molasses. And I'll start mixing this up. So this way the yeast can start to activate. Remember what I've said about molasses. Do not use the molasses that says blackstrap molasses. You're going to find that it's going to be bitter and unpleasant all around. That's why you have to find the molasses that specifically does not say blackstrap. Blackstrap molasses is the final product after cooking off the water from cane juice. So it's going to have all those burnt pieces, all those leftover things that are not sugar in it too, which gives it its own taste. Some people like it, but it is a little bit bitter. In here, I'm also going to add 3 deciliters of malted rye. Malted rye might be a little difficult to find in the US. If you can't find it, you could definitely substitute with malted barley. Okay. So you can imagine the malted rye, the molasses is gonna give it very nice toasty kind of a flavor, a little bit sweet. I'm also gonna add 3 deciliters of hot cereal. This is basically just rolled grains. This one has wheat, rye, barley in it. So same amount as the malt, we're going to add the rolled cereal. There we go. And now we'll add 3 deciliters again, rye flour. And 10 deciliters of plain all-purpose flour. And last, we're going to add a tablespoon of salt. Now I'm going to take my mixer and I'm going to mix this into a dough. Alright, now that my dough is ready, this will be very sticky because molasses. I'm going to portion it off in my baking pans over here. So I'm going to use an ice cream scoop actually to scoop it out. And now I'm just going to level off the batter. Like I said, this is very sticky stuff. I'm going to let this rise for about half an hour, then I'm going to bake it in a 350 Fahrenheit, about 175 Celsius oven for about hour and a half, 2 hours. Actually, what I'm going to do after hour and a half is I'm going to baste it with some molasses water. But before proofing, I'm just going to dust this with a little bit of flour just to prevent it from drying. While my first bread is rising, I'm going to make the second bread. I'm going to put in about 2 deciliters of warm water, 2 teaspoons of yeast, and we're going to put in about a tablespoon of molasses again. I'll also put in a tablespoon of lingonberry jam. There we go. About half a deciliter of milk powder, teaspoon of salt, some lemon peel, about a teaspoon or so, and about a deciliter of rye flour, 5 deciliters of all-purpose flour. And I'm going to mix this until it gets all incorporated. Then I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of butter. Now that everything's just about incorporated, I'm going to add my butter melted. Now the dough is starting to come off the sides of the bowl and it's smooth. I'm just going to take my mixer off. I'll dust it with a little bit of flour so it doesn't stick on my hands. And give it a few good kneads. There we go. That's pretty much all it requires. Now I'm just going to shape this into a loaf like that, and I'm going to put it in my cast iron pan to rise for about half an hour, about the same as the others. And this is also going to bake in the oven for about 2 hours, and I'm going to baste it with some molasses water after about hour and a half. Our bread is now out of the oven and it has cooled down, so I can actually use my hands. Let's take a look. This archipelago style bread came out really nicely, I think. Yeah, for sure. That one is a very nice looking loaf. This other bread, it's alright, but it kind of split here in the seams in the middle, and that prevented it from rising more. I think I probably should have put in deeper cuts in the center just to prevent that from happening. It's kind of funny shaped. But this bread for sure was the definite winner of the two. So here we go. 2 styles of Finnish rye bread for Christmas. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on Finish Your Plate.